Hey,
Hey Dina, how are you?
I'm well, thank you.
I guess
Good
good
night.
morning for you and good night for me. One
Yep,
day we're gonna do it the other way. One day. Excited to
hopefully.
be here.
Me too.
All right,
So,
so today let's talk about some investment and some investors and some pitching. And above
hey,
all of that, how do we crack to the investor code?
it's so important. Pitching is so important. It's so hard to be able to say what you have to say and get people involved in it and interested in it so they will move to the next stage. And there is a gap. There are differences. There are cultural differences that really we need to take into account when we talk about pitching to investors. Yeah.
So what do you think is the difference? If we can talk about any differences between the masterpiece of pitching, the masterpiece of approaching to investors, between US investors and Israeli investors, or vice versa. What do you think is the main differences in the storytelling, in the data, in the clear problem presentation, the framework?
Um, Look, there's just so many cultural differences to take into account. In Israel, if you're pitching to someone, first of all, who are you pitching to? Because Israel, a lot of times you might have government involved, the governmental institutions or funds, um, and the pitching is different because when you deal with governmental institution in Israel is a type one kind of a, I guess, a pitch, what they want to hear. If you're pitching to an Israeli investor, and it doesn't even matter if this investor is currently living in a different country, but there's a lot of a tachlis approach, like just speak to the point. What do you want from me? It's very important when you're dealing with Israeli investors that you don't go into a very wide, you called it salesy, right? Like just a wide explanation and try to they want to understand first of all to the point. So I think, and this is something that I think is also combined between even if you're pitching to a government institution, if you're pitching to a private investor, the first minute is crucial. I assume it's like that also with the States. You'll tell me in a minute. But in here, you have to be able to fold basically everything you want to say and everything that your product is. And the most important thing, why should they really be interested? Why should they be involved in it? It has to be, you have to be able to fold it all in 1 minute because they're not going to be attentive enough just because they're polite. And this is something in America that I think is different, right? People, if they have time with you, they'll sit down with you and they'll listen to you, even though that deep inside they say, I don't know what this guy's thinking, but they will listen. I don't know. Tell me, am I wrong?
No, you're absolutely right. And we'll dive into the process and exactly it's involved. But I think to summarize what you're saying, I think if you involve with Israeli investors, they will prefer bullet points, no nonsense, direct pitch, focus on the tech, focus on the innovation, emphasize it. Don't use big questions and big words. Where in the US, from my personal experience, it will be you need to put the proper storytelling. You need to make sure your data is backed up and claimed. You need to present a very strong problem solution framework. You need to make sure you follow up because not necessarily you're going to get the full answer right away. And you incorporate the follow up and the process as part of your pitching and part of your storytelling. But if we want to dive into it, let me ask you a different way. So, if you're looking at the investor, what do you think he's going to look for? You are the pitcher, you have a great idea, and now you're coming into Israeli person. You're representing the Israeli focus. Let's play the advocate for a moment.
Um, there's a word that comes into my mind, and it's like it sounds like counterintuitive over here, but I will still say it because I come from marketing background, of course, so I can tell you everything that needs to be said to an investor at the beginning. But I think the word that comes into my mind is authentic. And it's something that I'm not sure an American investor will be looking for. You, if you basically win the heart of an Israeli investor, but just by obviously presenting a problem, presenting a solution, the structure is not as important as it is as you just described. You do need to be able to create a proof of concept and explain your idea in a good way, and speak to the point, and again to very very fast explain why this idea is relevant to the investor. Not that the investor will start thinking maybe this, maybe that. This is why. This is why I'm bringing it to you. This is how you can benefit from this. These things are important, but I think another word here is authentic. Um not to make it feel too plasticky, too rehearsed, too no, you actually want to maybe even bring a true problem or a true story from your life. Why did you start working on this in the first place? I think in general, speaking more to the emotions and to the background of the person is a lot more important when you come to work with Israeli investors. That's my opinion. Yeah.
So you're saying if you're coming to the US investor, you're going to give him a hug and you say, my dear brother, here's the deal. Here's what I need you to sign. It's not going to work.
This is how I do my business anyway, but I'm not. This is your end, but from what I'm understanding, of course we're all human, okay? But I think in America they'll value a lot more something that is very structured, built well, pronounced well, delivered on a very very professional level. While in Israel, if there are shortcuts, but if you feel just for a second not authentic, or there's something in the information that you give that I can understand there's some kind of a lie there you're hiding or not telling me all the truth, it's
Sleazy, I think.
done. Sleaziness. Or, but I'm not even talking about that. Even if you have a very good idea, but you rehearsed it and deep inside you're not connected to it emotionally, it's going to reek. It's going to be noticed a lot faster when you pitch to an Israeli investor, because they want to see the fire in your eyes. They're a lot, I guess, a lot more attached to emotions when it comes to business. I don't know. What do you think? It's
I think
this
that
is my
what's,
observation.
I agree with what you're saying. I want to echo that. But I think if we're looking at the two different focuses between US and Israeli, I think the US focus will be much more on data and evaluation. Not that data is not important for the Israeli focus, but the first questions will be what type of homework you did. Do you understand the market size? Do you understand the scalability? Do you understand your financial, top to bottom? Do you understand your balance and your team and the management? So, and if you playing defensive or unclear your financial, or you turn off or underemphasizing or overemphasizing your technology because you believe that you're better than Google for whatever reason it is, that's a big turnoff. And on the Israeli side, as you said, if it's too sleazy, if it's too peachy, um, it's a big turnoff.
It is. Look, it's very important what you're saying here, because I think we can dive in a little more and give maybe some tips, because American investors are very interested. You maybe you'll set up a little bit the context in a second and tell us a little more about what's going on now, because you're very much involved in this whole investors and founders connection right now that's going on between Israel and the United States. But it's important to say that I guess when Israeli investor, when not an investor, sorry, an Israeli founder wants to get investment, what are let's ask you this: what are the main things they really need to prepare? What are the main things? Because we just describing it in general, right? What's important? What if they come without it? It will be a disaster. What do you think?
Well, you have to understand the size. With all due respect, the size of Israel, the market size is the size of a small, or it's like New Jersey size. So coming and understanding, are you ready? If you want to hit the American market, if you want to hit the European market, are you ready to sell to Costco? Are you ready to sell to Walmart? Are you ready to sell to 300 million people? Is that even a dream? How are you going to support that? And then also the landscaping and the market size is much bigger. So if I'm going to ask you who's your competitors, it's not like in Israel when you know all your neighbors and you're walking in Tel Aviv or in Herzliya and the same great 20 companies, you all know them by name, by founders. Here is a huge market. If you're in New York, you don't know about Silicon Valley. If Silicon Valley, you don't know Texas. It's hundreds of companies, hundreds of chairs, many landscaping and circles. And be aware of that. Know what you're getting to. Be ready to invest the proper legs on the ground so they will support you in the proper way. And be aware and ready to build the proper team and the team resilience if you really want to hit the global impact.
So in one word, or in two, I don't know, but basically you're saying that you have to prove that you can scale up not only on Israeli level, or what you think you, not only that you can imagine it, you can actually do it. You can do it on an American level, on an international level. This is very important to understand.
Yeah, and in the practical level, more and more I see American companies or American investors, they're demanding that the CEO of Israeli company will move or COO will move to United States, right? We want to see some of the people moving here or at least spending half of the year here. We want to see, obviously, legality coming to the US and not only have Israeli company. We want to see Delaware LLC corporations formed in the United States for the legal part. So we want to see boots on the ground. We want to see it really happening, not just promises from the other side, because war is happening, disconnections happening. If we put the money here, we want to have some control.
They want to
And
be reassured. They want
yeah, we want to control and mitigate the
money.
risk. And we want to make sure that the Israeli founder, or at least some of the management team and the leadership team, will be here and not
So,
just on Zoom.
sorry. So how will it look in the pitch? Because I'm taking us back to the pitch. Right now, I'm an Israeli founder. I'm trying to get seed money from a company. How can I reassure? Let's say that I'm a small company. Let's say that maybe I'm not even going to be moving. Maybe I'll move some of my staff. Maybe I'm on a place that I just want them to believe in me and help me out because I'm still, after some seed money or a little more. What should I say? What do you think?
So first, understand the competition. Understand the landscaping. Understand what you're coming to. Be very precise about where you want to go. What's your scalability? What are you trying to achieve? Are you trying to be a local market niche? Are you trying to sell to B2C to a client? Are you trying to see B2B? Are you trying to sell B2G to the government? Be very specific and lay down very specifically who will be involved. Mostly I want to invest in people. And I want to invest in the people and the attitude and how this group of talented people will achieve the storm, because storm will come. It's a bumpy road. So besides the great opportunity and the problem and the solution, investors want to invest in people besides all the technology or any other great solution. Who are the people, what they've done, and what they planning and willing to do? And sometimes it will be a hard question. Okay, are you willing to move with your family to in the middle of nowhere a month from now? Yeah, and if the answer will be very, very vague, okay, we're gonna
But
pass
is
it.
it a
We're gonna
must?
look at the what?
But is it a must? I mean, I know plenty of Israeli companies that are working from
It's not a
here.
must. It's just example of if that's what needed, and if the group of investors would like to see or mitigate the risk, and they would like to see boots on the ground here, and the other side will say no, or let us think about it. It shows the level of how much they're willing to invest in risk, especially in the early stage, right? If you don't believe enough that you're going to move your family or put your money or drag all your family crazy that you really believe in your product, why should I believe in you? Why should I invest in your product if you don't believe it strong enough that you want to distress your life?
I'm just writing it down because why believe in your product is something that actually I think we discussed a while ago. I forgot his first name and it's really embarrassing right now, but please forgive me. Grant Cardone?
If you don't,
Yes. Um, I remember listening to the book that you recommended, and it was an eye
and then
opener.
sell
It
or
was
be
an
sold.
what?
Sell or be sold.
Yes, of course, sell or be sold. And as always, everything that we're referring here, you'll have the links. So in sell or be sold, I remember that he said like you have to 100% to believe in your product, and it was I'm in marketing for years, and it goes without saying, obvious, right? But when my product is me, because when I come to lecture in front of people, a lot of things are mixed up in there, right? A lot of when I pitch an idea, so the questions can become very, very personal, or the answers that our investors are seeking to look for are they want to know who they work with. They want to know. So I think the change here between, I guess, Israel and America is not so great. Maybe the way you deliver the message is important, but altogether they want to see what's going on in your head, what's going on in your mind, how are you dealing with situations, how are you dealing with uncertainty? Because there are plenty examples. I actually discussed this yesterday with another friend of mine. There are many examples of startups who had investors. They invested in a specific idea. The idea sucked, or the idea didn't work out. It did not turn to be scalable. They changed into another idea and continued with the same investors. And this is crazy part, because altogether, I think we, from what I'm hearing here and what we're discussing, they want to know more about the pitchers. They want to know more about the people who deliver the idea and how they believe in it and they're passionate about it and what they'll do whenever things will go wrong. The only difference I think here between America and Israel is how to deliver it, where to put the emphasis, where to put the where to I think while in America it sounds that they're very much they want to know that they're going to be processes and they're going to be a specific way. I think maybe you can elaborate a little more on that in a second. An Israeli might look more into the personality, the personal connection. An
The
Israeli might
authentic,
look,
the
huh?
authentic messages. Yeah, the Israeli
Authentic
will look on the
messages.
authentic messages and the value and the real challenges. And I think echoing what you're saying and maybe summarizing is the importance of tailoring your pitch and understanding very well who do you pitching to, right? Understanding your connection to his story, because each one of us has a full story and full of channels of connections. Now, if you're going to somebody who's coming from a banking industry and he's like in his 70s, and you're going to bring him the super duper AI fancy presentations, he doesn't care about it. He cares, but that's not what he likes to see. Spreadsheet, he likes to see numbers. That's how he likes. And vice versa, if you're pitching a Gen Z and you're going to start, here's a spreadsheet and here's how it's allocating and it's thousands of numbers. Whoa, that's too much for me, right? You need to show me the way I used to see. So know who you're pitching to, know what type of story that you need to tell and how, and make sure you have the proper market research and make sure you have a cross-market solid strategy.
That's important. But just do me a favor. Whatever you do, don't start a pitch ever, Joseph, with a spreadsheet because it doesn't matter what generation I'm from, but you gotta start with something that will connect to me on
Yeah, but
some level.
you'll be
What?
surprised. You'll be surprised.
Really?
What?
You
Yeah,
start
when you
with, hello, I'm Joseph, $1 million. That's the next stage. You're not saying, hey guys, you want to hear about my cool story? Like there has to be some kind of a glue in there.
listen, when you're showing a real estate big project and you're talking to a banker who see 10 to 50 deals a day, bottom line, you need to present the model. Yes, you can show him a beautiful countertop and beautiful
The
appliance,
model,
but the
not
model
the
is
numbers
spreadsheet.
right away.
The
What?
model in real estate, it's a spreadsheet. Eventually, I'm just saying, your spreadsheet could be page number 3, or it could be your page number 30. Depends who you're
Okay.
talking to.
All right. But what I'm saying is, I would like to, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong over here, but I think that an investor would like to hear how you're going to get there, right? What differentiates you from everybody else with a spreadsheet? So,
For sure. Emphasize the problem, emphasize the solution, emphasize the team, emphasize the opportunity, emphasize the market research, emphasize the landscaping in your competitors, and then obviously show how does it look like in numbers. But to the point, some of the people are already going to fall asleep, and some of the people are going to wake up as soon as they're going to see a spreadsheet. Know your audience. Know who you're pitching to. Know what they're going to connect to. If you watch the Shark Tanks, make sure you're pitching with the right
right.
colors, right? Give if somebody from the Shark likes watches, make sure you're matching your product to his watch. It's a very small market research, but if you know it, you get him. It's a
Is it
personal connection.
is it something you do with your clients? I mean, before because you help them with the pitching, right?
Yes.
I'm just asking. So you basically help them to do the research and you dress them up, you tell them what to talk about. Does it go to that level when it comes to
Yesterday, Trump wear a blue tie and BB wear a red tie. Why they didn't?
because there was also white in the background.
Right, but why they both of them? There's American flag have all 3 colors. The Israeli flag that has both blue and white. Why they didn't match? Why they did match and each one of them wear different? Do you understand?
Well,
There are people behind it, right?
of course, yes.
Okay,
I mean,
so
okay.
so taking that example just for a minute. Of course, you need to understand where to meet the person. Is that going to be an evening? Is that going to be a night? Is that going to be before lunch or after lunch? He's going to be tired. He's going to be looking at his watch to go home. The time is critical. The space is critical. We spoke about earlier that I met a group of to cyber technology, a group of amazing guys, and we met like in the middle of a night in a restaurant on the second floor in the middle of New York. And I'm like, I'm dying to get to the hotel. They dying to get to the hotel, and they starting pitching us with this amazing idea. But it's like, no matter what they're gonna do, they're not gonna get a check of they asking in the time, in the space, in the environment. We all look like a bunch of guys who's trying to eat McDonald's in the second floor, people looking at us and they
Is it
asking $5 million investment. Like it's not gonna work no matter how hard we're gonna try to respect each other. So
okay? So I guess it brings us back to Grant Cardone of respecting ourselves first of all, and bringing and doing the market research. But the market research you're talking about is not only like numbers and problems and target markets. It's also who I'm pitching to and how. So I would like to summarize it because I want to give specific examples. I mentioned at the beginning of our conversation that the first minute is critical. I really believe in it, and it comes from many researchers about this, and it comes also from psychology. We need to understand that, especially nowadays, a lot of us have attention span of a goldfish. And what happens is if you do not create any hooks, if you do not create anything for me, I'm maybe listening or I'm hearing what you're saying, but I'm not very listening. I'm not connecting to it. So there are shortcuts. One of the shortcuts is obvious, as we discussed it before, is emotional. If I connect to you, hey, you're also like that. You also like this group. You also do. You know the feeling when you connect to someone on a personal level, the conversation starts going smoothly. A lot of other things is as you said, is mimicking. And I understand that there is a specific level that there's the good taste and that there's everything else. But if the person that I'm talking to is dressing in a certain way, I should look into it, and to a certain extent. There is also even a philosophy, and it's something we're doing a lot of times subconsciously. We're mimicking each other, meaning if I see the person that sits in front of me in a certain kind of a position, like open, spread wide. I would like to mimic them because on some level he tells himself, "Hey, this guy's like me. He gets me," and that's all we want in life. Basically, we want people to get us, to understand us, really. And it doesn't matter how old you are, it doesn't matter where you're coming from. So the only difference here is the way, the way to deliver it. I think there's just, we open here a huge topic, and I understand that you don't want to go into it and dive into it deeply, but I would like to maybe explore it in the next few episodes and to understand what exactly needs to be said in the pitch. Like, really, the words, the sentences, that if I'm an Israeli and I come to the States, how to do it, like how to do it best and what I need to prepare. So maybe it's something we can
Well,
look
this is
into.
the observation. This is the deal. You sign the check here and let's go home.
Yala. You
Exactly.
convinced me, by the way. Where do I sign?
Yeah.
Um, we really need to think about this. And I know there are people listening to us and they're wondering just that because it's always on everybody's mind how to cross this bridge, how to explain what my idea is because I'm crazy about my idea, but somewhat not everybody are just standing in line to give me checks. And this is
Yeah.
what we're here for. We want to help you out with it.
We live in amazing times and amazing opportunities out there. The bridge between Israeli and American innovation is always great, and now even better. We're just in the beginning of Horizon, and personally, I'm glad that I'm involved and deeply involved in the defense space, in the tech space, in the real estate space, in the nonprofit space. Um, and I'm sure great things can be done. And we're here, Dina, you in Israel, and I'm in US with big teams behind us. But we're here to help people to close that bridge and make this bridge a little bit smoother.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so it was a pleasure as always speaking to you,
Yeah.
and we'll continue diving into this topic because it's very important. If you, as always, if you have any questions or you want us to address anything, please write in the comments section. We read all our comments. We're so vain, so that's what we do. And yeah, until next episode. Thanks, Joseph. Good night
All the
to you.
best. Have a good day.